Well, greetings, people of the internet. Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today, Lenovo's gone and done it again. Yeah, and this is one of the reasons I really like Lenovo because, look, let's face it, my channel's not very big. It's very niche market. It's mainly caters to home users and, DIYers and that kind of thing. I don't claim to be a professional at anything I do. Yet Lenovo continuously reaches out to me as a content creator and provides me with products to use and test and to make videos on. And they don't have to do that. So here's a shout out to my rep over there, Jeffrey Witt at Lenovo. Thank you so much for sending me this unit right here. This is a Lenovo SE-450, and it's the ThinkEdge computer, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today and what I'm going to be doing with it here at Unky Joe's Playhouse. So this is a small unit. I'll show you what it looks like along with a full 2U full-length server. It's a very small package. You've seen me. I've had one of these edge computing devices here before that was actually smaller than this, but this is made to fit into a small rack. I think it's only about this deep, folks. And it's made to install into a small rack or hang on the wall. There's various different mounting options with this unit. And so I've never had a really good clue on what edge computing means because I don't deal with Fortune 500 companies. I don't deal with tens of thousands of users or hundreds of servers, that kind of thing. I deal with small mom and pop. So when people say edge computing, everything to me is edge computing. It's on the edge of all my networks, and that's where I keep my stuff. I put my stuff or my servers as close to the users as I can, for latency and other reasons, but it's just the way I've always built my networks. But this is the way I classify these edge servers. They're something that needs to be put into maybe a not so well climate controlled environment, and maybe an area that gets a little more humidity and moisture than a data center would, because those machines have to be built a little bit differently than those in the data center. They have to withstand they have to have a little more tolerance when it comes to temperature and humidity and whatnot. So I think that's where the Edge series comes in. So if I'm getting that wrong, Lenovo, I apologize. And they didn't coin the phrase Edge servers or anything like that. But they did send this unit over to me. And let me tell you, the first thing I did the day I got it was tore it apart to see how it ticked. And I was very careful because I didn't want to break anything. This is, it's a $3,000 or $4,000 server. It's not an inexpensive piece of equipment. Now, the unit they sent me has we'll go over the specs here once I bring it up on the computer. But suffice it to say, it's got a Intel Xeon Gold processor, only a single one. But it's got 512 gig of RAM. It's got, it's got a couple of SSD drives and NVMe SSD drives in it. And let's just go down through the specs and you can see. It'll even show you some pictures. So the front is the back and the back is the front on this server. Now, in theory, you can even put wireless cards. You can order a whole plethora of stuff here to jam into this thing. It can have many duties. It's got dual redundant 1100 watt power supplies, is the ones mine came with, and they're 1100 watt power supplies. So let's see. It'll support a single processor, up to 36 cores, up to 3 gigahertz, and a TDP rating of up to 205 watts. So it supports for up to 8 true DDR4 memory DIMMs. So it can have up to 1 terabyte of memory using 128 gigabyte DIMMs. I'm just reading off the paper here. Can support up to 4 single-width GPUs or 2 double-wide GPUs for substantial processing power in an edge system. Yeah, I mean, imagine what you could run on this thing. And I'm still not clear as to what video cards it supports or how it powers them, or what the power requirement is, or what the power tolerance is on that PCI Express bus on this Lenovo, but I'll find out and get back to you. So real quick, I'm just going to go through these. You can read about these specifications on the server. I don't really get too much into specs until I get into the putting an operating system on there and having it perform a task. But you can see there are all kinds of options and possible configurations that you can do with these servers. So it's a very flexible box. Something like this could run your entire business very, very easily, or run a manufacturing process or processes. It can really be tucked away in an area where you just kind of set it up and forget it. It seems like it's built pretty rugged, and yeah, so there you go. Like I say, I'll link this information matrix down below in the notes. As you can see, I've got a table of contents, so it's got a lot of stuff on here that it can run and handle, and a lot of different options. All right, so now what I'd like to do is power the unit up and take you into the lab and show you how I've got it configured and the tasks that we're going to have it do to give it a good and thorough workout. So there's the unit right there. You see how small it is. There's a full-size server as point of reference underneath it. And that's how small this thing is. So I've got it on my roll-around cart so I can just move it wherever I want to. My thought was I could move it out into the other room on this cart and put it in a room where I don't actually have air conditioning running right now. And it's the kitchen, so it'll be warm and noisy in there and full of grease. And wouldn't that be great? Lenovo gets their server back and it smells like French fries. Alrighty, so we are here. Yeah, we're here. How's everything looking? Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, here I am in the lower right hand corner, right where I should be. Alright, so this is the Lenovo SE-450. So the edge computing device, and we're going to use it. The trouble is trying to find something for these servers to do while I have them in my possession, because I really don't have any software, so to speak, that can emulate user activity on a virtual machine. But I do have something that can stress a virtual machine or put it to work that is valuable to someone somewhere. So I can load software on here on each virtual machine. There's a couple of different options. You have something like Boink out there. You have things like Folding at Home, that kind of thing, where you can load computational programs or rendering programs on a machine. And what they do is they farm out the server time and the work and spread it out over other people's processors. So that's what I've decided to do. So on this machine, I'm going to build a lab with Windows Hyper-V. Then I'm going to do one with probably VMware. And then probably one with Proxmox, maybe with XCP. We'll just see how it goes. And then what I'm going to do is create a plethora of virtual machines, because in this unit we have 24 cores on a single socket chip and 48 logical processors on this Intel Xeon Gold 6338T CPU that the folks at Lenovo thought I might enjoy spending some time with. And they were right. We also have 512 gig of RAM on this machine. There's a couple of SSDs in here, NVMEs, or yeah, I think they're NVMEs. They're not very big. I think they're about 256 meg each. And I pretty much got them full now because I need to move some stuff around, but I digress. So what I want to do is bring up Hyper-V Manager, and I want to start the individual machines that I've created. The goal was to create 5 Windows 10 machines and 5 Windows 11 machines. Total of 10 virtual machines, just have them there running. And running either Folding at Home or Boink or something of that flavor. The problem is I've run out of room on my local storage here, as you can see. We've only got a couple of SSDs in here, and they're both pretty full. That's C and drive H. They're both 256 gig NVMe SSD drives, or NVMe drives. and I don't have any attached iSCSI storage, but we'll change that, but I think I'll do it later. Right now I have enough storage space to create the virtual machines and have them up and running. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start all of the Windows 10 machines. So I'll go ahead and start those 3 Windows 10 machines, and I'll wait till they're up and running. Then we'll do the same with the Windows 11 machines. I've got 3 of those, and then I just was kind of running out of space. And then in addition to that, I'm monitoring how much wattage it takes to run this server with all of these machines up and running, and then running Folding at Home or Boink or whatever other program I determine they should be running to emulate real work or activity on these virtual machines. And I think that'll give these machines a run for their money, put them under some load, and put it through its paces to see what kind of potential you might have with a system of this size on the edge of one of your networks, because it is designed, like I said, to be an edge computer, whatever that means, whatever that thing is for you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start up the Windows 11 machines as well. Get them all up and running here at the same time, and you'll see the task manager should now start going to work. And then once they've all come up to the login screen, I'm going to go log in on each one and start running Folding at Home. So right now, with just all those VMs up and running, they're not doing anything computational. They're just actually booted up and sitting there waiting for a command. The system is pulling 139 watts. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to connect with each one of these machines and go ahead and get them started running Folding at Home. Now once I log in on each one of these VMs, it should start automatically running Folding at Home. And then whether or not you'll be able to hear the server behind me ramping up, because it is sitting on the thing right here, the rolling cart right behind me. Go ahead and run Task Manager just to make sure that Folding at Home is started. Yeah, it has. Folding at Home core. Cool. So now I just need to do this with all of these units. Now the other thing this is doing is it's stress testing my renewable energy, my solar configuration. Because right now, this server, my entire rack, and my entire workstation set up right here at my desk are all running off of a combination of grid power, solar power, and battery power. And so in essence, this is, now keep in mind we've had some cloudy days here lately, so this system is more running off of the grid than it is running off of solar, because we're not generating that much solar this time of the year. But still, we have excess power we can use and spend it on some programming or some computational stuff like Folding at Home, and put that power to work and put it for a good cause. So that's what we're going to do while we're testing out all these machines. Plus, it gives me an idea of how adaptable my solar configuration, my solar and battery configuration will need to be to power this rack, not only on a daily basis, but when I don't have a lot of sun, when my battery capacity is low, and how seamlessly the system can switch between the grid and solar and batteries. And there's no better way to understand that than to put it into practical use, which is what I'm going to be doing. So the fans have now noticeably spun up behind me, and it'll be interesting to see once we get all these machines Folding at Home what kind of power it's using. Now, I could have easily just installed Folding at Home on the root of the server 2022, because it is Windows after all, right? But where would the fun in that be? So I'd rather roll up all these virtual machines. And to be honest, I've been wanting to rebuild a lab here lately, so this is a good reason to do it. I don't have much of a use case for a server like this right now. If I were into, I don't know, if I had a big manufacturing company. Now we're getting about 63% utilization running these virtual machines. We're only using 9% of our RAM, but there are other programs I could get up and running that'll make use of that. So what I'm going to do next to this unit is add some iSCSI storage so that I can actually, I'm having to speak up now because the fans are ramping up. That way I can get some more network activity as well as activity with the CPU and with the SSD drives. That'll help increase the load on the system, the entire system. So right now the unit is consuming 262 watts of power, 279 watts of power. It goes up and down. Basically, CPU, memory, I/O, and system, all those are graphed out there for you. I really like this Xclarity controller interface. Really makes it nice to kind of look at things. And you can see our CPU 1 is at 72 degrees centigrade or 161 degrees Fahrenheit. That seems awfully warm for that CPU, but I guess, no, not really. They'll run up to 90 when they're gaming. I know some CPUs will run up to 90 C. So I guess it's not too bad. It's not hot enough to fry an egg on or anything. But that gives you an idea of how it's doing with about a 63% load, pulling about 280 watts. And as you can see from this display, currently my rack and let's just say it. Currently my studio, excluding lights, my studio, including lights, are consuming about 927 watts. 277 watts of that are coming from the solar array. 1,300 watts are coming from the grid, because it's not only powering my load, it's also charging my battery back up to 100% state of charge. So all that's taking power out. I've got it kind of balanced this way. And then when the sun goes down, I can turn the solar off completely and just have the entire system run off grid. That's something you can either do manually or automatically with that system. So we're getting a little bit of free energy from the sun to power this load with, and that's about the amount of power that server is consuming, about 279 watts. So yeah, I'd say, as soon as we get some more panels wired up out there, if we have another nice day tomorrow, I'll get out there and build, put up 5 more panels. That should get us up to a kilowatt hour. We should be able to gain on a good day. Alright, so I want to create some storage, some iSCSI storage for this Lenovo temporarily. It'll only be temporary storage. So my Synology flash station, I wouldn't put shared virtual machine storage on Spinning Rust. I just wouldn't. I don't think it's fast enough. But thanks to Sasha and his generous donation, we have a Synology flash station with some storage where I can create an iSCSI share for that Lenovo. So we're going to do that next. So I'm going to come under here under SAN Manager. Let's create. Okay, well, we'll call this Lenovo SE-450. There we go. Now I'm going to give it a IQN number that I can understand. So I'm going to not call it this target. I'm going to call it Lenovo SE-450. And I'm going to click on next. I'm going to create a LUN for this. And we'll call this Lenovo SE-450. SE-450. Okay, gotta give it 300 gig. We're gonna thin provision. I don't know that you need to create an iSCSI target for each one of these. This is just how I've done it all these years. Alright, so there's our LUN. Cool. Lenovo SE-450. So now let's go over to the Lenovo and see if we can actually connect it. Alright, so we're over here at the Lenovo. So let's go to Start menu, and I'm going to do the iSCSI initiator. So I just clicked and started typing that iSCSI. I do want this to come up and start running every time we restart Windows. There we go. So now I need to come out to Discovery, and I know the IP address of that Synology flash station, if I can learn how to speak, and that is at 192.168.5.17. And then come back here to targets, and now you'll see the Lenovo SE-450 as a target. I'm going to connect to it. I'm going to add this connection to the list of favorite targets, so it'll reconnect automatically. Click on OK. And now I should be able to come under here under disk management, and we should see that 300 gig iSCSI drive is offline. So we'll bring it online, and then we'll initialize it. There we go. We'll do drive letter I. So we'll call it iSCSI SE-450. We'll give that label. Next. Finish. And there we go. There's drive letter I. So now, what I should be able to do is come in here under Hyper-V Manager and go to Hyper-V Settings. I'm going to change this to drive letter I, and this to drive letter I, and apply those. So now when I go to import a virtual machine, because I've got some machines out here in the exports folder, I want to import another Windows 11 Pro. I want to copy the virtual machine, and now it should place it on drive letter I, and it looks like it is. I Hyper-V. I Hyper-V virtual hard disks. Next, and finish. We'll let that run, and let's go look and see. So it looks like, yeah, I've only got 10 gig free of my Hyper-V. So I may have to move the storage of one of those virtual machines over to the iSCSI share, but we'll see. So we'll let this run and see how long it takes to create a new virtual machine using the import wizard. Alright, so importing that machine only took 3 minutes, if even that, but the fans are really ramping up behind me now, as you can probably hear. So I'm going to go ahead and go under settings on this machine because I want to rename it. So this is 11 Pro. And this is going to be LabNet 20. And this will be unit 004. Oh, sorry, 4. And then I'm going to eject the CD-ROM drive. I don't need it. And I'm going to rename the virtual hard drive as well. So let's come to the end here. LabNet LN20 unit 004, right? Yes. And then I need to double click on that so it'll open the right. Perfect. So now if I go ahead and connect to it and start it up, this one should now be running off of, and you can see it is because there's data now going out over the Ethernet because it's connecting up to the iSCSI share. So this ought to make for some interesting information. So these units have all been sys-prepped, right? So when I copy them, they're going to start in sys-prep. They're going to enter the out-of-box experience. So we're going to have to go through and set up this virtual machine. And then once I get that done, I'll come back and show you. I just basically load folding at home on the thing and start it running, and then just leave it running. And I'm going to do that with 2 more of these Windows 11 virtual machines now that I have iSCSI storage attached. And it'll give me a better idea of how it is utilizing not only the memory of the CPU, but also the Ethernet connection. Alright, so I've completed the creation of the VMs. I moved some stuff around because I was running desperately low on SSD space, so I moved some of the virtual machine storage locations over to the iSCSI. And as you can see, that's now given us a good idea of the power of this machine, because you can see the CPU utilization is now at about 83-84%. All 10 machines have 4 cores and now 8 gig of RAM in each machine. I bumped it from 4 up to 8 with the exception of number 5 there, which I'll fix here shortly. So that not only would they use a little more CPU, but a little more RAM as well. Because you can see we're only using about, a small percentage of the RAM right now. But it also puts some strain on the Ethernet adapter, because some of these virtual machines are loading off of iSCSI, so they'll read and write back to the iSCSI drive. So we're up and running. I guess we'll let this run for a while. It's simulating a bunch of virtual machines running on here, putting this thing under a nice load. I haven't missed a beat yet. I haven't had any crashes, any runs, drips, errors, nothing. It's been very stable. So currently at this time, with all those VMs running and running folding at home, it's pulling about 304 watts out of the system right now, and we are getting a portion of that from solar. We're getting about 231 watts of that power from solar, so you could say in essence this solar is powering the server, and what the solar can't meet, the grid is powering. And you can hear it's really kind of sped up now. And we're now up to 320 watts. And you can see our CPU utilization is at about 78%. So putting Windows Server 2022 on there with Hyper-V and setting up 10 of those virtual machines has been a good test for this system. Alright, so there you go. We have put the server to work, and I'm having a lot of fun with this. Now, a couple other things are going on in the background that you're not aware of. One is I was running out of file storage space on my Synology DS1621. I had to order another 6 terabyte Seagate drive and expand my capacity, and because of the way where I'm moving my data around to, that meant all of my exports that were on there had to be sacrificed. All my old lab exports, I just didn't have anywhere to put them temporarily, so I've moved them off onto other storage, and I did that by loading Windows Server 2022 on my Dell R710 number 1 and number 2 unit. They're both running Windows Server 2022 now, and then I'm able to use Drive Bender under the primary Dell server, the first one, and share out those 2 and 3 terabyte drives into a Drive Bender drive array. So what I'm doing then, in essence, is rebuilding my lab from scratch. So I want to take these images of these exports of these virtual machines I've created under Hyper-V so that I don't have to reinstall them and reset up software on them, repeat that function over and over again. So all that's happening in the background while you're seeing me build this lab on this great little, wonderful little Lenovo unit here. So in moving forward in the future, like I said, we'll put Proxmox on here. We'll put VMware on there. We'll probably end up putting XCPNG on there. I don't know that we'll do something like Unraid on there. It's not really suited for Unraid. It doesn't have a lot of hard drives in there to share. So I think we'll pass on Unraid on that one. But, well, there you go, folks. We hope you enjoyed the video. We hope you found it entertaining and informative as well as always. So, leave your comments down in the comments section. Give us a thumbs up down below if you liked the video. Subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified of new videos when they come out. It would also be extremely helpful if you could donate. Throw some coin our way. PayPal, Patreon, YouTube join function, or become a YouTube premium member. Bypass all the ads on YouTube and help all the creators out that are making great content that you seem to enjoy watching. So, don't forget to come see us again, and don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.